held on December 9th and 10th, the biggest Edison format tournament of the year, the Big Boy Gaming 5K. Put your skills to the test amongst other duelists for a chance to win special prizes. Prizes for top cut are lots of cash, top 8 custom design mats, and pins. The champion of the Edison 5K will tame the Black Rose Dragon Giant card. There's a cap size of 250 participants for the Edison 5K. Pre-registrations for the tournament is open on the Big Boy Gaming 5K website. Deck lists are required to play in the Edison 5K. There will be side events for multiple Yu-Gi-Oh formats during this event. Looking to buy or sell cards? There will be plenty of vendors available to suit your needs. The Edison 5K will be held at the JS Store and Arena located in Raleigh, North Carolina. Can't wait to see you all there. Hey everyone, it's Hydro Pump here. Just a reminder, the BBG 5K, as you saw in the intro, it is being held on December 9th and 10th. So that's this coming weekend, so if you're planning on going, make sure you pre-register for that event. There's directions in the intro, or in the link below where you can go do that. And just to make sure you get your spot in the tournament, so in case it caps out. Anyways, for today's video, we have a interesting video. This is kind of like a KristyaSworn Twilight Turbo deck, and it took inspiration from a because I went to BBG for like a 2K tournament. I think it was during the summer or a couple months ago. Anyways, and one of the guys he talked with like a KristyaSworn with stuff like Trade-In and N-Rise and all that. So I kind of like took some inspiration from that, and I actually played against him at like some local before nationals Edison tournament as well, and he was playing the same thing. So it was kind of cool. This build's a little bit different than what he was playing. Just something that's pretty fun, and I just wanted to try out. And it's a pretty cool deck. So I'm just gonna run through the list real quick. So we got 3 Kristya. With Trade-In and stuff, it's really a lot easier to summon Kristya in this deck than even typical KristyaSworn, where it's supposed to be super easy to summon. Not really having Beckoning Light to recycle Kristya. So I guess like if all 3 are in the grave, you don't really have a way to get it back, but that's kind of unlikely. So yeah, 3 Kristya is pretty good in this build. We got Card Trooper, this crazy mill monster, replaces itself. 1 Celestia in this build. Typical KristyaSworn list had like 2 or 3 Celestia because it's a fairy. You could tribute a Lightsworn to get it out there, but it's like pretty hard to summon in this build. You might be able to justify it, bump it up to 2, but I never really liked opening it. So there's that, and it's kind of hard. Like you have to combo with like Necrogarna or like Honest to like really just make a Lightsworn stick in this build. And we don't have hamsters in this build, so that's another thing. You're not really trying to stick a Lightsworn, if that makes sense. Just trying to like turbo through your deck. But anyways, yeah, it's still a name and it's still a fairy, so it's pretty good in this build. But you're not really trying to bank on summoning it like the regular KristyaSworn builds. Got 1 Aaron, so it's a name. You can attack a set guy and spin it, so there's a potential for a plus there, so it's pretty good. We got Gores. I'll talk about Gores here in a little bit, but Gores is Gores, and then some more onto that 3 Herald. Cards is kind of crazy. One of the best fairy monsters. I was considering not playing it just because like it doesn't really contribute to the turbo stuff. But it's still like a really crazy card. We have 2 Honest, because Honest is Honest. Jane, just like a big name for Lightsworn. 2 Judgment Dragon, obviously. Lumina, and then 2 Lilas. I think regular KristyaSworn plays up towards the 3 Lila, but and you kind of have to fit the turbo stuff in and some other things. So 2 Lila is fine. I was playing 1, but I bumped it up to 2 again. This is like a really good Lightsworn monster all around. We have Necroguard here. I didn't have him in the list, but I put him back in just because he's just really good to mill. It's a dark for a lower darkness, so it's an extra dark there. And then aside from that, it doesn't really provide anything else other than like it does in regular Lightsworn. So now this is where the deck kind of gets crazy. I call this deck Twilight Turbo, but you know, it could just be KristyaSworn Turbo, but it does have like the Twilight stuff in it, so it's kind of cool name for it. You could call it Chaos Turbo, but I think Twilight. People called like Phantom Chaos stuff with Lightsworn Twilight in the past, so I don't know, I'm just gonna stick with that name. So yeah, Phantom Chaos, it's kind of better in this deck than it would be in a regular Twilight build, and you can do like more things with it. And in the replay I'm gonna show, it definitely put in some work. But yeah, and we can talk about Phantom in a little bit more detail once we get to some of the other cards. Plague Spreader, again, it could be kind of crazy in this deck for some reasons, and I'll get to that. One Reiko might look weird, but you're not really trying to set monsters in this build, you're just trying to like turbo. So Reiko is just more so like another name that can occasionally like deal with the problem card. Potentially could side more of these, but yeah. And 2 Shire, a weird one to play 2 of, but it being a small fairy that you can summon off Luma is actually pretty relevant for fixing KristyaSworn, or Archlord Kristya. Say you have 5 fairies in the grave, or along those lines, you can go like Lumina, summon Shire, then you can summon Kristya. So there's some application there. And then same thing with Phantom Chaos. Phantom Chaos can just banish your Lumina, special summon Shire, then summon Kristya. So in that sense, you're kind of playing 3 Lumina just to get this out of the grave. So that's kind of cool. Or Phantom Chaos also can just banish a fairy. Like you can banish Enrise and then summon Kristya if you have 5 in grave. So it's really good at fixing the grave for you. You got 2 Enrise here. I was on 3, but you know, you might be able to get away with 2. It's a level 8, so it works with Trade-In. The Fairy Light, so it works with the Herald, the Honest, the Kristya. It's kind of like a better Chaos Sorcerer in this build. And the summoning condition isn't really that bad. Like you have to banish 3 Light Fairies and 1 Dark Fiend, which you play plenty of both. So this card is relatively easy to summon, and it does the same thing as Chaos Sorcerer. And this guy's like a real threat. It being 24 is pretty relevant against stuff like Armed Wing or Monarchs and all that, so pretty good stat line overall. And the fact that you can just banish it with Chaos and then banish a card, and then so say they have Vanity's Fiend, you summon Phantom Chaos, banish it, and then go on with your day, summon Kristya, whatnot. So yeah, it's pretty cool in this deck, and I enjoy it. And then we have something interesting that I kind of splashed in. It is Norlaris, just 1 copy of Norlaris. Typical Norlaris decks play like 3, and they just try turbo for Norlaris. I tried like 2 copies or 3 copies before, but it was just a little too clunky. So, you know, if you hit the 1 Norlaris, it's like cool. You can do some things. Not really playing Foolish Burial in this build, but you could. Maybe you would have to like throw in a wolf if you're gonna play Foolish Burial too, but I just didn't want to make room for it. But the 1 Norlaris is pretty cool with Phantom Chaos. You can do some cheeky things where you go, you know, regular Norlaris stuff. You can go Plague Stack, JD or Kristya, Enrise, you know, Chaos, Norlaris, wipe the board and everything, drop Kristya, and like one of the guys you just stacked with the Plague Spreader, so that's pretty cool. And then also you can do Phantom Chaos, Norlaris, And then something you can do, like if you set up your you set up your field or your graveyard to where you have like Chaos and Kristya on the field. You can go like Chaos, Norlaris, Kristya will get stacked because it's sent for the field to the grave. So it gets stacked and you just redraw it, which is I believe that's how that works, but it's pretty cool. Or you can go Phantom Chaos, banish Judgment Dragon, nuke the field, Kristya gets stacked, and then you just gonna redraw the Kristya. So yeah, some cool stuff you can definitely do there. And like if you're doing any of that combo stuff, like you're just gonna win the game most likely. Like cleared field and then dropping one of your boss monsters is pretty crazy. And then funny thing with Norlaris, you can actually hard summon it in this deck. Requires banishing 1 Light Fairy and 3 Dark Fiends. So Gore's the Dark Fiend, Trag's the Dark Fiend, Phantom Chaos is a Dark Fiend. So yeah, it's not likely, but it's kind of niche and goofy. So I guess the perk is they can't DD Crow Norlaris like they can with Phantom Chaos. So it might catch them off guard there if you're hard summoning Norlaris. And we have the Tragodia still, just like another Dark Fiend. So these guys being Dark Fiends is pretty convenient for this deck. And then we have the Lure of Darkness, just another draw card. I think we play 8 Darks. So yeah, it's kind of like nice draw card there. We have Card Destruction. Just dump your hand, get a new one. Maybe you can pull off just turbo out one of your boss monsters or do Phantom Chaos stuff. And then we have Charge the Leper Brigade, obviously, and 2 Gold Sark. Gold Sark's pretty good in this deck because you can do the Phantom Chaos Norlaris thing technically, and then but beforehand you can Gold Sark the whatever boss monster you want, and 2 turns later you can have your live boss monster. So yeah, it's pretty cool in this deck. I think that's the main application with it. Then we have 3 recharge and 3 trade-in. The main thing that I saw a problem with regular KristyaSworn is that it didn't have enough like spells that like impactful spells. Like normal KristyaSworn list would have like 3 recharge and charge and maybe Gold Sarks, and that's it. But now you have the inclusion of 4 more or 5 more draw cards, so it's a lot more functioning engine, and you're able really to turbo out Kristya and your powerful boss monsters like Judgment Dragon. And you add a couple more. So yeah, this deck's pretty cool, and I have stuff on the replay. The sideboard's a sideboard. It can change. Extra decks to extra deck, it can change. This kind of is like what I whipped together. But if you have like a side strat you want to try to do, you can do that as well. But I have a replay here of playing against zombies, and we can check that out, so it's pretty interesting. Alrighty, so getting into the replay here. So yeah, we have a interesting starting hand. We're going first here. We could just go trade in first, end rise. We got recharge here, which would normally be good, but we don't have a Lightsworn to pair it with. So I decided to mill Card Trooper, see what we get going. And then I Card Destruction. You can probably shouldn't do this because I was like, well, you may be playing a Grave deck, which he is. But we have Gold Sark, we have Gores, we have Phantom Chaos that bans Samurai. So likelihood probably shouldn't activate Card Destruction here, but I was just trying to like really just turbo and get the deck to do what it's supposed to do. But you can certainly just play this hand out and the way it was. So we get Norlaris, Enrise, Kristya, Orange Light, and then obviously his he has Mizuki, Goblin Zombies, so not ideal for me. That was like a kind of like a neg-2 Card Destruction in a sense. So Anyways, that kind of passed. I could technically hard summon Norlaris here. But again, he does have this live stuff in the grave where... I mean, honestly, Norlaris Hero actually would have been really good because he has, you know, Dark Arm Dragon. He's able to make the Hades and drop Dark Arm, so, and I don't get the draw because of Hades. So we draw another dead recharge, which is not super likely in this deck. Yeah, I didn't really have anything I can, like, Orange Light, so I guess he's keeping that in mind. He just didn't want to, like, pop anything or do anything that would trigger Orange Light. So here we actually hard summon the Norlaris and, you know, use the effect. And it goes through. But I'm kind of really low on life. He doesn't have anything grave. But all he really needs is like a monster, like to go into like a level 4 monster to go into like a level 8. Now I think I needed 1 fairy engrave and I ended up milling 2 off the Aaron. So that was kind of unfortunate where we can't summon Kristya. He draws Kalahana, which is pretty good. So yeah, Kristya is technically dead here. And then I think, well, we have 2 names engraved, so kind of getting a little unlucky with like too many fairies and not enough names kind of thing. So typical KristyaSworn things. And we just kind of get owned here by Goyo. So on to the next game. So yeah, I guess that card destruction was kind of disastrous because it didn't really work in our favor there. So yeah, we got a pretty nice hand here. I mean, you can't complain about charge or slow recharge, and then we have trade-in in the mix, so even more turbo. Sidon Soul Release just because it can fix our grave and then banish important things they got going. So we get Shire here just because it's a fairy. We're just gonna get rid of it anyways. And if we end up with too many fairies in grave, we can always just Lumina back the Shire, so pretty good there. We drew Kristya, which is pretty good. And we trade in the Norlaris, so it's just nice to get Norlaris in the grave there. And we do have 3 fairies in the grave. So we can actually ditch a fairy with Lumina and then summon Kristya, which I think we're going to do. We ditch the Endrise. Bring back Aaron, summon Kristya, add back Endrise. Could add back Herald, but don't really have another fairy, so not much purpose in that. So turn 1 Kristya, as advertised, typical KristyaSworn deck, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And I decided on like the oppression just to try that out. He did not. So I mean, his hand's pretty good too. I mean, he has TT Mirror Force, which is like pretty good into my current board. I had to mill the Orange Light because of Goblin Zombie. I summoned Lila because I'm like, well, he probably has TT or Mirror Force. I wasn't really thinking he would have both. We got kind of a cool play here. Let's see. So yeah, Kristya went back to the top of the deck. We can go Endrise. And I think if Endrise dies, we're back on 4. So yeah, he's gonna Mirror Force that. I don't know why he Mirror Forced this. Honestly, he should just like set all 3 back row. Like, why? There's no reason to not set the bottomless trap hole. Because you're kind of committing anyways with the Mirror Force and Torrential, so you might as well set the bottomless. So if you set the bottomless here, this Kristya wouldn't be as much of a problem. So kind of a misplay on his part. Now, I kind of goofed. His Goblin Zombie died and it was, he searched Reaper. I kind of forgot it was Reaper. Not a big deal. Now we're actually pretty low on cards. We're at 9 in deck, so we have to kind of like pay attention to that. I think he's just gonna try to like deck me out here. We're just trying to, yeah, I could, okay, so I have like a solution if like worst case scenario, I could just tribute these 2 to summon Gores to, you know, do something. We draw Fan of Chaos, so that's pretty good here. It's actually kind of cool what I can do. We go Fan of Chaos, banish Judgment Dragon. We nuke the field. We're gonna stack the Kristya and then redraw it with Card Trooper. He searches something. I forgot the Fan of Chaos actually stays because this. I was thinking it was like Norlaris, not Judgment Dragon. And we're just able to summon the Kristya again because we had 4 engrave. So we have Honest, Herald. So I think the only way I can really lose is if he has like. I'm trying to think what you can really do. I'm not sure what you can really do to get out of this scenario. This goes down to 1400. I guess I could. I guess that was Herald. I should just Herald that just to deal with it. Like, what can you really do? And that was this game anyway, so yeah, you can make a case I could just Herald and then kill him, but we did Fan of Chaos effect again, nuke the field, and then just went for game. So Fan of Chaos showing how useful it can be in this deck. So we go trade on Norlaris. We go Allure Darkness. We got rid of the Gores because we don't really care about Gores. And if I think we could do some, like, I'm planning on doing Norlaris, I think. So Plague Spread is just gonna be better than Gores here. We could banish. So I banished the Norlaris first just to make sure it goes through. And then we Gold Start the Kristya. So this way, like, I think I have 3 fairies engraved, so this Kristya is gonna be the 4th one. So the Kristya I banished is gonna be coming back to a live field. Funny enough, he has Light Mirror set, so I guess Fan of Chaos gets around Light Mirror, so which is interesting. He has Light Mirror because KristyaSworn and fairy decks aren't really too relevant right now. We drew into another Fan of Chaos, which is I think I just set the Necroguard in here just because, like, what is a Mizuki really doing? So we add back the Kristya, and then this is kind of like where it's kind of crazy where, we wiped his whole hand away, everything with Norlaris, and then we could just drop like a boss monster, and they don't really have a whole lot to really respond with. So we add back this Kristya, we go charge for Lila, just in case it's like a Mirror Force or something, and we just attack. He has nothing. Yeah, so he just kind of died, and he was a little salty. Very lucky, bro. This deck is jank. Clearly not. Like, I think the Norlaris stuff is like pretty cheeky in this deck with Fan of Chaos. Just because it makes it a little bit more unfair for the opponent. So yeah, pretty cool deck. I plan on playing more with this in the future and just showing more replays with it, but I just want to get it out there for you guys to see, like, what the power of the deck can be. Like, you're just turboing with trade-ins and all this draw cards. You could drop Fan of Chaos on numerous things to be good, like even Fan of Chaos a Card Trooper, mill 3, if you really need to, or Lila, Lumina. Yeah, it's just like so many cards you can Fan of Chaos with in this deck. And like Enrise, Norlaris. So anyways, that was Twilight Turbo for you guys. That's what I'm gonna call it. But let me know what you think of the deck down below in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And let me know if you want to see more of this deck in the future, because this was just one matchup. I'm sure there's like a bunch of other matchups that are like super interesting. You would think zombies would be a matchup that's not super favorable, because they could just use their grave just as well as I can. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.